quorum. So in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts executive order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, we are conducting this meeting in a hybrid model, both virtually and in person. The Cemetery Committee is conducting this meeting May 3rd, 2023 at 4 p.m. Eastern on the Zoom platform and in person, and in accordance with the town's policy directive and guidelines issued on April 1st, 2020 and amended on May 7th. If you are recognized, please state your name and address. This meeting is being recorded. I, Brian Davidson, hereby call this meeting to order. All committee votes will be taken via roll call. We will start with an attendance roll call of committee members. When I announce your name, please reply. Rod Rydell.
Here.
Thanks, Rod. Jerry.
Present.
Thank you, Jerry. Jeff.
Here.
And myself, Brian Davidson. Terrific. So being the first meeting after the town meeting, we have to appoint a new chair and a new vice chair. Are there any volunteers for chair?
Are we allowed to volunteer anyone else?
I was going to suggest just continue with the musical chairs, so the vice chair moves up and then the next person in line moves up.
Jerry, I think that's a good suggestion. I'm looking forward to working with you next year. How's that?
Yeah, I'm really not available to serve in that kind of role. I would if I could, but I can't, so I won't.
Oh, you can't be vice chair.
Okay.
Yeah, probably not. No.
Jeff, would you like to take the position of vice chair?
Sure.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So I guess
will have me.
fantastic. So I think this probably needs a motion. Yes. So I'd like to make a motion to nominate Rod Rydell as chair and Jeffrey Walton as vice chair.
I will second that motion.
Fantastic, Jerry. Thank you. So we'll do a roll call vote on that. Jeff?
I guess I vote yes for Rod. I abstain from voting for myself, I guess. I think we have enough, right?
Fair enough. Jerry?
Aye.
Rod?
Aye.
And myself is an aye. Congratulations, Rod.
Well, thank you very much, Brian. You're
Terrific. So should I just continue for today, or
if you want to talk
Rod,
to Rod,
or
you have the script.
Rod, I have the script. Would you like me to continue doing this meeting and you start?
Please continue moderating this meeting, and I'll take. Maybe we should have said taking effect at the next meeting.
Yeah. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Thank you. Okay.
And Brian, one follow-up question: are you going to continue participating on the committee?
I will, as a member. I think I'm on until 25 or 26. I just signed another 3-year thing.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
We'll be here, but not as chair. But thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so deed signings. I guess we did not have any deeds to sign or after the meeting.
We do have the mausoleum deed to sign.
Okay. So
We have a whole bunch of these. We can wait until the end.
would you want me to sign those or Rod to sign because he's now chair?
Rod's gonna have to sign.
Rod,
Yeah, so I'll have to
coordinate with
yeah.
this?
Rod, I'll have to find you tomorrow sometime.
Sure. I can be, why don't we talk at the end of the meeting? There's plenty of time, either early in the morning or later in the afternoon. So that'll be fun.
Good for me.
Okay, great.
Wonderful.
Let's do it early in the morning then. I can come over to the cemetery, meet you there, or
What's early to you?
8 o'clock.
Yeah, that'll work.
8 o'clock at your office.
I will see you there.
Okay, 8 o'clock at your office. Great. Okay.
Wonderful. Next proposed cemetery meeting will be June 7th. Is that okay? Any conflicts, folks have? Okay, correct. Okay, so we don't have our minutes. So we'll just move then to our discussion, which is D1, CPW staff report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Aaron McFarland, Highway and Ground Superintendent. Couple things. So we have been doing some downtown cleanups. We had the Patriots Day event last month, so there's a lot of initiative of maintenance ahead of that. Kind of getting ready for the event, which drew a large crowd to the town of Concord. Finished picking up winter decorations and loaming and Einstein's back as well. So that's kind of maintenance stuff. And Tish, anything you want to add?
That's it. No, Einstein's finished the spring cleanup and they were gonna start mowing today, but they were worried about the rain, so they'll be in tomorrow.
Good. And doing some tree work as well, right?
Yes, tree department is, yeah.
And we have tree planting programs going on in town right now as well under the department of planting trees in the cemetery as well this spring. So the mausoleum update, we have a signed fully executed agreement. There was a special meeting since the last scheduled monthly meeting just to authorize the town manager to sign the agreement on behalf of the cemetery committee. That agreement has been executed, and there's a deed to be signed tomorrow by the chair for that lot. Stonewall update. There was a town meeting that took place on Sunday and into Monday, and on Monday evening there was a near unanimous vote at town meeting to authorize the funding for the proposed CPC projects for this year. One of them was the Stonewall maintenance, repair, and reconstruction in City Hall Cemetery. So it's $340,000 project that will be supplemented with some town funds to design and reconstruct a number of the walls that the committee's been reviewing the last year or so. So thanks to Rod for all his efforts on that project. And really looking forward to continue to work with the group on that initiative. As far as burial and lot sale information during the month of April, 2 full grave and 9 cremation interments took place, and 11 single grave lots were sold, or a cremation lot was sold, and 1 mausoleum spot.
First, probably since 1920, 1919.
30s.
30s.
Yeah, I
Okay.
forget which it was.
Wow, pretty good. Pretty good. That in the books. That's wonderful. Great. Well,
That's all I have.
thank you, Aaron. Appreciate the update. Thank you, Tish. Really appreciate that. So, all right. So moving on to interment request, the Young family.
Okay, so this is a request by the Young family. Ronnie's here if you do have any questions, but it's a pretty straightforward request. They have in a single grave, we allow up to 4 interments of cremated remains typically. They have a request to allow a 5th interment of cremated remains in their single grave here. The 3 people will be interred all at the same time in the same outer burial container. So it will be a 5th person, won't really take up any more space, and they will have a shared headstone.
Terrific. And this is a pretty routine kind of request we've done in the past. And
Yeah,
there's
we
no
have.
detriment to the cemetery by allowing this request.
No, a handful of times. This family needs things that come up that people don't maybe foresee when they purchase it, and to just fit one more person in there would accommodate their family's needs.
Terrific, terrific. Does anyone on the committee have any questions or anything they'd like to raise? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the interment request of the Young family.
So moved.
Great, thank you,
Second.
Rod. Thank you,
Second.
Jeff. So we'll go through a roll call. Myself, I'm an aye. Rod,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Jeff? Aye. Great. Terrific. So the motion passes. So congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for joining us today. All right. Next, we have D3, Friends of the Sleepy Hollow bench request approval, which came before us last month, but I know they've been hard at work and have revised and provided us some documents. So Kevin, oh, I'm sorry.
For make a request, we switch the order of the.
Oh, sure.
It's just because the applicant are requesting this here, we're going to switch D4 and bring that ahead of D3, please.
All right, so the Noakes will keep joining us. They're gonna be official committee members if they keep coming to these events. So very well, yeah, so happy to see to switch that around. So welcome Noakes. So this is
Thank you.
purchase Anderson.
No,
Oh, no,
actually,
no,
E4
no. It's
ownership.
E4, sorry, ownership request, Hanson lot.
Yes, okay, so I'm gonna give you a little bit of history first. Long ago in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, you had to be a current resident of Concord to make a purchase. So long ago, a lot of times when people would move out of town and didn't purchase something and then had a death, they would have a family member or friend buy the lot for them. Happened a ton, we know it, and it's all fine. So this man, Warren Hanson, did this for his sister Ethel. When Ethel's husband died in 1974, Warren Hanson purchased the lot to inter William Noak there, and then eventually Ethel Noak. A year later, after he did this, he did request of the cemetery committee that he be able to transfer the lot to the Noakes, who had lived in Concord at one point, but were not eligible to purchase. The cemetery wrote back and said, sorry, that's not something that we're authorizing at this time. Can't transfer, but you can certainly authorize their burial in the lot, which he did do. Many years later, we had a couple situations where it would have been nice had we actually had the proper name on here, because we've had different situations arise where it's hard to find this owner because maybe somebody didn't keep in touch with that friend who bought the lot for their grandfather. And we've had situations where there's an at-need situation and we have 2 days to figure this out. So the cemetery committee authorized me to go through all of the lot cards, identify these lots that we knew had been purchased for other people, call that family, if they were eligible, and they had been a Concord resident at one point, if they were then eligible, because our law changed, they would authorize that transfer to happen to them one time. So we did probably 9 or 10 of those transfers. And then there was a backlog of deeds that just weren't getting issued for some reason. And too many people were calling us upset that we had called them to initiate this transfer, but then we weren't issuing the deed. So we kind of just stopped doing it and it just kind of fell off the board. So it hadn't done anymore. This is one of those lots that we would have done that for, but didn't. So Warren Hanson is now deceased. Warren did not have any children, so he had no direct heirs to the ownership of this lot. William and Ethel Noak are interred here currently. They will be moved to 2 of those 16 graves that they were authorized to buy last month. As the next of kin, Billy has the right to disinter and reinter the 2 people who are here, even though he's not technically an owner of this lot. That will leave the lot empty. So in order to either allow another family to use this, maybe Becky's family, maybe somebody else, maybe a grandson, maybe somebody, or to sell this lot back to the town, Billy would like to claim ownership of this lot at this time, which was the original intent. So has contacted 10 of his 12 cousins to ask them if they have any interest first in being interred here, because he would allow them to be if they did. They don't. If they had any interest in ownership, they don't. 10 of the 12 have written a letter to us, a notarized letter stating that. 2 of them, he spoke to one, he didn't speak to the other one. Both are elderly, have indicated that through other family that they have no interest in these, but just aren't able to sign this letter to send it back to him. But have indicated that they have no interest. And if they ever showed up, he clearly has enough space to put them someplace if they wanted to be somewhere. So what the current request is to transfer ownership of this Warren Hanson lot right now to Billy Noak, as his cousins have all agreed, it's the ones he's spoken to. And as was the original intent, he would have inherited this lot had the Noakes been able to be the owners of this lot at any time in the last 50 years.
So it's a purchase 50 years ago.
In 1974. So yeah,
Just about.
Yeah.
Great, okay.
I think that's pretty much outlined. Do you have any questions?
So it seems like a largely kind of administrative situation where just to get the paperwork to be accurately reflected. Does anybody on the committee have any questions for either Tish or the Noakes?
Yes, Brian, just a follow-up question for Tish. Assuming the committee votes in favor of this request, will you issue then a new deed to represent the correct, now the updated ownership?
That's up to Kari. I leave that up to Kari at the town clerk's office to decide how she wants to handle it. Some clerks have issued a new deed, some have made an amendment to the original deed.
Okay, I just want to know what the administrative follow-up is. Is something happens with the town clerk? Okay.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Okay. And what does the town clerk need from the cemetery committee in order to make this happen?
A vote authorizing the transfer of ownership from Warren Hanson to William Noak.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. With that information, may I make a motion, Brian,
Please, Rod.
that we transfer ownership from Warren Hanson to Mr. Milk? Is it M-I-L-K?
No, N-O-K.
N-O-K-E. I'm sorry. My
Yes.
apologies.
No worries.
N-O-K-E. Yeah. It's bad computer audio here. My apologies. As requested and as explained by Tish.
I'll second that motion. So we'll go through our list here. Jeff? Jerry?
Aye.
Rod?
Aye.
And myself as an aye. Well, Mr. Noak, you're becoming the monopoly of the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, whether you're ready for it or not. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a good day now.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Tish.
Tish.
See you guys later.
Okay. Is there anybody waiting for the Anderson family?
There's no.
Yeah, okay. So great. Kevin, thank you for your patience. We'll go back then onto our original course here with D3, Friends of Sleepy Hollow Bench Request. We all remember your presentation last meeting, and you've provided us some updated documentation. Do you want to just walk us through?
Sure. My name is Kevin Thomas Klodzik, and I reside at 98 Baker Avenue. If that family is becoming standard, I guess I am also too at your meetings. Yes, based on your expressed concerns or recommendations at the last meeting, I went back to our bench designer, Dennis Devaney, and he put forth what I presume you have in your hands, and I thank Justine for forwarding it on to you. It looks something like this, and I would point out several items. One is we've reduced to 1 star. If you recall previously, there were 2. We're talking about gold star versus gold stars, so we've made 1. Our name will go on the side and the inscription, as you can see. Several other points came out. One of the questions that we had was, should we be able to raise the star off the surface of the bench to give it perhaps a bit more prominence? Dennis cautioned against that, said it would mean recessing the entire area and the cost would actually be prohibitive. So we have nixed that. And then since I anticipated there may be some questions about the gold starring, that is the gold painting of the star, I wrote there what Dennis had sent on as the appropriate nature of the paint to be applied to the star so that the gold does stand out on the bench. Let me pause here and see if there are any questions, and then I just have a bit of further information to add.
Thank you, Kevin. Are there any questions from the committee? Great. Oh, yep, terrific. Thanks, Kevin. Please continue. It seems very, very straightforward.
Okay, I had a wonderful personal conversation the other day with Mr. Krug, who is the veteran service officer in town. Talk about a person with a wealth of information. It was the most enjoyable conversation with him. And I ended up asking him if he endorsed what we are doing here with the bench. and he heartily affirmed that endorsement. So he's pleased with it. He's looking forward to it being placed and honoring the Gold Star families. The other thing that happened is one of our board members does pretty good research, and she came up with the fact that in 2021, by an act of Congress, the last Monday in September every year is designated as Gold Star Families Day, which is really impressive. So what the board is going to come back to you with is seeking permission to have a public dedication of the bench on the preceding Sunday, which would be the 24th of September. We would, of course, invite appropriate persons, particularly anybody connected to, related to Gold Star families. We think that will be a very prominent release, if you will, of our gifting to the town. I've spoken to Dennis Devaney, the fabricator. He assures me that following this meeting, we can get him fabricating however one goes and gets gray Barry granite. He will begin to do that and can assure us that the bench would be properly installed in plenty of time for September 24th dedication. So again, I will come back to you in due time with a request for that public ceremony.
That's great. That's great. Just so one thought that just popped in, we do take the summer off, Kevin. So just so I don't think we have a July, August meeting. And so that would be the first Wednesday of September would be the first after this June 7th. So just keep that in mind.
Got it.
Yeah, but I don't think, I mean, I haven't polled the committee, but I can just speak personally. I'm sure we would all be very excited to see the Friends have such an event in support of our Gold Star family. So I'm sure that wouldn't be a problem, but just for your administrative aspect. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate you going back and doing a little bit more on this project and addressing some of the concerns that we raised last time. Looking at this, my opinion, it looks great and meets the needs that we were kind of discussing at our last meeting, but I'll open it up to other committee members for their comments or questions for Kevin. Great. Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to accept the Friends of Sleepy Hollow bench request for in honor of Concord's Gold Star families as presented and revised at our meeting. Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you, Jerry. Perfect. So we'll just do a roll call. Jerry?
Aye.
Rod? Jess? Aye. And myself is an aye. So thank you very much for doing all this work, Kevin. And if I can
My
take a
pleasure.
moment before you leave and embarrass you, Kevin has been received an award from our Historic Commission as for a historical preservation award for his 20 years of service and all his work with the Friends. I know Kevin was going to be the first person to say it's a team effort, but every team needs a good captain. And so congratulations, Kevin.
Thank you. It is the Friends, not I. And as I said in my note to you, what we do is a collaborative effort. We don't work alone. We work in good concert with you folks and certainly with the town. So we're very pleased to be so recognized as being good conservationists and preservationists in Sleepy Hollow Cemetery. It's a real honor for the Friends. Trust me, it is.
That's wonderful. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. I will convey that to our board.
Terrific, terrific. Thank you. Well, as always, you're welcome to stay, Kevin, but know you're a busy man. So if you drop off, no problems there as well.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Okay, so moving along to D5, lot repurchase, Anderson.
This is a three grave lot purchased by Mary Anderson, C58B and C59 Maple Avenue. She purchased it for herself, her husband, and her son. Her son does not need the third grave and be cremated. So they would like to sell back that third single grave for half of our current rate, which is $1,100.
Fantastic. Any discussion amongst the committee? Terrific. Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to accept the lot repurchase of the Anderson family.
Second.
Terrific. We'll just do a roll call. Jim?
Aye.
Myself as an aye. Rod?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Terrific. Thank you. Motion passes. Just D6, a quick columbarium update. Just Jerry and I will probably be meeting fairly soon with the staff to discuss even more in detail our columbarium. But I had a chance just to have a quick conversation with Jeff from Hardy and Doric about the columbarium. They're drafting some plans, just kind of communicated. Our subcommittee, of course, has been doing a lot of work in this area, but just, our ideas for a very natural setting, kind of, I think we often talk a little bit about the Vietnam Memorial, about setting the columbarium into that wall. I think we've had these discussions in the past. And so he is going back to his designers and working up some plans. I don't know. I know he was looking for elevations. Tish, were you able to send him some of the,
Justine did.
or Justine sent the elevations?
Yep.
Terrific. So just wanted to give that quick update. There's not, not a lot of substance to it, but they're working on it, and we're moving forward on it, and it's very exciting. So seems like a really great person, and seems like a good group to be working with moving forward on this columbarium. They've done several across the area, and they've all looked, the photos I was looking at from him were very impressive. So we should see good results there. So. And which goes into the chair comments. Welcome, Priscilla Sturgis. So is it Sturgis? But yes, terrific, Priscilla. Priscilla is still in the process of going to become an official member, but she will be filling the 5th position on the chair, on the cemetery committee. And Priscilla, I don't know, would you like to talk a little bit about? I know you're with the Friends, and you're interested in the cemetery and interested in the committee.
Yeah, I've been on the board of the Friends of Sleepy Hollow for, I'm not actually sure how long, maybe eight years, maybe. And I've been to this meetings many times. And I just thought, well, there doesn't seem to be very many meetings right now. So I certainly am experienced enough, I think, although sometimes I'm not always following what's going on. So I might have to ask questions. But I'm happy to serve.
Wonderful.
I'm just waiting for the paperwork, I guess, from the town.
Terrific, terrific. Well, we're very excited to have you, and we know you bring a long history of participating in our community, and so we will really harness those talents and appreciate you being with us so well. And just want to say again, Rod, thank you so much for the presentations at the town meeting on the CPC projects and all the work that you've done to put into that area. Just wanted to recognize all that hard work that you've done. Thank you. Terrific. All right. So do any committee members have any comments?
Brian?
Hi, Jerry.
Yeah, yes, the mausoleum thing is a big deal, and in lots of ways, and I would like for us to recognize the people that brought it forward. This took a number of years. I mean, Andrea, Whitney, and Paul all come to mind. I'm sure there were others. But, having the vision, doing the initial work, and doing kind of all the ongoing work. And here we are. And so I guess what I'd like to, moving forward, is just ask if there's some way that we could officially recognize and thank the people that started this.
That's great, Jerry. That's great. I don't know what's the, obviously, public recognition, and we stand on the shoulders. I saw Paul at Helen's the other day, and he was very excited about the mausoleum, and back from Texas for a little while. But Why don't we put some thought into that, Jerry, about how to best approach that and how to best give that recognition that is so well deserved. And, other than Andrea here as our liaison, always happy to see her as well. And congratulations on having the mausoleum put up. As Jerry says, you've done a lot of work, so thank you, Andrea.
No, thanks. It just happened to come before the committee when I was on it. So it was just work anyone would have done had they been on the committee. So it was a pleasure to be a part of. I'm glad to see it actually happening.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, you're very humble, Andrea. There's a lot more work behind those words, but congratulations. And like I say, Jerry, we'll have to give some thought to that idea. So, any public comments? Andrea, do you have any? Rod, sorry, Rod. Yes, please.
A couple of follow-up items. First, about the CPC grant, there's draft conditions, which we're waiting to receive from the CPC. And Justine and Tish and Aaron, I'll help you in making sure that the paperwork gets brought to the CPC. They basically want us to basically use the funds to do the work that we propose to do in the grant, not to do other work. They want signed copies of signed contract or contracts for the work. And they also want any plans or specifications for the work, the copies of those specifications. And these are routine administrative matters, but they frequently fall between the cracks. So I'm happy to follow up on that. The second point is more for Aaron, and that is for the June meeting, Aaron, could you provide some kind of general information about what trees or how many trees are being proposed for this year's program in the cemetery? And also looking forward, at some point, we'd like to see if we can identify the trees that are going to be planted as part of the 250th celebration. That gives us, the 250th celebration gives us a fantastic opportunity to replace many trees that have been lost due to damage or disease or old age. So that would be great if we could keep track of that.
Yes, Rob. We'll do. I can actually make a couple of comments on both those. As far as the trees go, right now we are currently planting trees. So by June's meeting, I'll have already planted the trees in the cemetery.
Great.
The committee on where and what went in. As of right now, we kind of use we don't have we purchased new trees that arrived last week. We have a number of locations that we're planting within the right of way and doing setback trees. And then we will just naturally through the process every year, folks will withdraw their request last minute, and we'll end up with a handful of trees that we need to find a place. And oftentimes it's a great place to plant trees. So it's kind of a reserve location for planting, if you will. So I'll provide that. As far as the 250th, I'm actively involved in the subcommittee, the permanent monuments subcommittee, most recently yesterday, to discuss kind of the game plan and where that's at moving forward. By June, there will probably not be a plan in place based on our preliminary timelines of locations for trees and where in the cemetery, Rod. Right now, in June, we're looking at putting together some type of a working group to identify the people that would be involved. But really, they'd actually be involved with determining where those trees will be placed in the future. So probably by June, I won't have that list, but I can give you an update on where that subcommittee is at. In their process, they haven't technically formalized any recommendations that would then go to the executive committee and then to the town manager that would then direct me to take action. Yeah, it kind of goes up to coming back down, if you will. But I can give a kind of behind the scenes update of where we're at on that project.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Aaron.
Absolutely. And then as far as the CPC goes, those conditions are something we're used to. We will handle all that in the office, Rod. So
fantastic. That's great.
That's kind of standard operating procedure for us. So but we'll keep you updated and work closely with you as that project progresses.
Okay. Just want to keep the relationship really positive because we're going to go back to that well over the next few years. So,
Yes, and I guarantee the department does as well for quite a few different projects. So
yeah.
we have a good working relationship with them. So we did.
Great.
Most recently, other than this project, you know, I don't have many things. Visit Emerson Park, but that was a well-funded project through the CPC.
Great. Okay.
Great, thank you. Public comments, Andrea, anything from the friends you'd like to share? I know we heard from Kevin earlier.
The bench was the big news, so glad to see that going forward too.
Wonderful, very exciting. Thank you. Thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it. All right, so seeing no further business on our agenda, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Perfect. So we'll do a roll call. Rod? Jerry?
Aye. Yeah.
Wonderful. Jerry?
Aye.
Aye. And myself as an aye. Terrific. Great. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thank
Good
you.
night.